Alright everyone, in this video we are going to show you how we removed our rust, cleaned the floor, primed it, and painted it. Up till this point, we have taken out our entire factory floor, including the handicap rails, and that's all outlined in another video right here. First, we tried using a normal wire wheel on a drill. We found that the batteries were dying very fast and that this type of wire wheel was not quite strong enough to remove all the rust on the floor. We switched to a corded angle grinder with a knotted wire wheel attachment, and this ended up being our favorite combination for floor prep. A few spots that were completely rusted through, we used an angle grinder to cut out around, so we only had stable metal left.
Alright, we washed the entire floor with soap and water, and then we applied this Rust-Oleum rust dissolver, and you literally just spray it on. It's a gel and it's supposed to dissolve the rust, and right now our floor is changing color, which is pretty freaking cool. So we have to let it sit for 20-30 minutes and then wipe it down again, and then we can get ready to put the primer down.
The instructions for this brand of rust dissolver say not to let it dry, so we kept spraying it on there and scrubbing it in so that we could really see results. Once we were happy with the results, we washed the entire floor with water and soap again. So we've taped all the windows off. We're going to spray the walls with clean metal primer. It's that Rust-Oleum stuff. I use that anytime the walls are like relatively clean or the metal you're working with is already painted. And then we'll use rusty metal primer on the floor. But we're going to spray it so it's nice and quick. Once we're done spraying it, then we will take the floor paper off and we can roll the floor with rusty metal primer. Can't do that first because then you'll be walking on your paint. So that way we can let the whole thing dry at the same time and we don't have to like wait for the floor to dry before we do the walls. That's the only reason we're doing this. We're impatient. We didn't get a close-up, but we painted the entire inside with Rust-Oleum high performance enamel. This is a really thick, sturdy paint for metal that came out great. Make sure you do wear long sleeves and glasses because when you spray paint, especially in a small space, it ends up everywhere. If you look at the floor in this video, you can even see that it's getting dusted white. The most valuable tool in this entire process was an angle grinder with a knotted wire wheel brush. And we will link all the tools in the description below. The knotted wire wheel is absolutely amazing. It was sturdy enough to last for quite a long time as we grinded the entire floor. It was flexible enough to remove the paint without actually grinding through the metal. Absolutely the best tool. It was really great to just kind of go back and forth across the floor. It was very tedious, but it actually ended up being a little therapeutic going back and forth because you could see the chunks of rust flying off, and once you went over it, you knew you had removed any rust that might be flaking off. So it was very satisfying. Another important thing is that this process created a lot of dust, so I would definitely recommend wearing safety protection, including a respirator. Cover up anything that's important to you because dust is certainly going to get everywhere in the bus. Another essential tool in this process was the rust dissolver. There's a couple of different brands of this, but we used Rust-Oleum rust dissolver. It was amazing. We sprayed it all over the floor, we let it sit, we followed the instructions on the bottle, and we were absolutely blown away in the change from rusty metal back to normal paintable metal. We definitely recommend you doing that because it created a really solid foundation for us to paint on. After you paint your floor, we recommend some kind of really thick primer. We used Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer. That has been great for us on the exterior of the bus, anywhere we have bare metal, so it certainly worked well here. And then as far as the paint goes when you're choosing it, again, we recommend a really thick, sturdy paint. We used Rust-Oleum oil-based enamel. That enamel paint is really thick. It was really easy to spread. I would certainly just recommend using a roller, and you can get kind of like a broom attachment for it, so you can just dump it on the floor and then roll it out. Put a nice thick coat on. That'll help keep the floor stable. It'll lock it all in, and it worked great for us. When you're going through this exercise, you want to make sure your entire floor is solid. And if you find any spots that are really thin or starting to rust completely through, you want to just remove those spots completely. We cut them out with a grinder. You can use a saw, anything like that. And we'll show you how to patch those holes in our next video. This is a little old school, but if you think your floor might be a little flimsy in a certain spot, I just take a screwdriver and I lightly poke at it. If the screwdriver goes through, you have a problem. If the screwdriver does not go through, your floor is probably fine. If you're just finding this video, we are doing a 4-part floor removal build series. This is video number 3. The first one, we showed you how to remove your factory floor. The second one, we talked about considerations. Do you really need to remove your factory floor, or can you get away with the one that's already in there? And the last video will be actually how we patched the holes and installed our final subfloor and our nice floor on top of that. Be sure to check out all the other videos. They're linked in the description below. We are Acrovan Adventures. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.